Sometimes, man, you just get to where I can't figure this out. Like help me out. I'm trying to understand, dudes, what the hell is going on? So that's the name of this partnership. You tell me. 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 Live. You tell me. Live. You tell me. Live. DukesTheScoop, I got to tell you, brother, it brings a smile to my face when I hear that song and then get to see you, man. How you making it on this great Tuesday evening? How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm happy, man.
Yeah.
Happy, man. Happy to be here. Yeah. Happy to be here, man. Happy to be on You Tell Me once again.
Yeah.
Glad we able to do this for a living, man. That's crazy, ain't it?
Man, crazy. I just been to tell you, man. Shout out to Moses for that track. When I just hit a song and we waiting to come on, man, I just start smiling, man. What a blessing. Shout out to my man Kenlon Jones, first in the chat. He said he can't believe he beat Debbie Garcia here today. Oh, now. And let us know where you're coming in from. Of course, we're streaming live on all three platforms, DukesTheScoop channel, Big Dog Chico producing in the background, and breaking news with Big Dog Chico. He's way out in Hawaii, but right now he's eating cabbage and black-eyed peas. He's been in the kitchen cooking tonight.
Let's go.
Yeah. Got a little food in Hawaii. So you check in, let us know where you're from. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, get down with all three networks. No matter which one you get down the most, make sure you support the other two as well. Don't forget, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. That way we do go live with shows. You'll get a notification about 30 minutes before we get going. DukesTheScoop is Tuesday night. That can only mean one thing, brother. Sometimes I can't figure it out. Sometimes I got to go to my man and say, you tell me. I got one to start it off.
All right.
You know, we always deal with sports. We always deal with culture. Let's deal with sports and entertainment right here, Dukes.
All right, let's do it.
Because I know you was a big wrestling fan like I was, and you remember in WCW when Hulk Hogan went from a baby face to a heel and they threw all the trash in the ring because he joined NWO. We had a watershed moment in wrestling history like that this past weekend when for the first time in his career, John Cena went from a face to a heel. You tell me, Dukes, where does this stack up in wrestling history?
I think you got. I think right there along with the Hulk Hogan heel turn with the NWO and the coming out of the Attitude Era. I think The Rock, who came in, from Rocky Maivia to becoming The Rock, was a big change in his career. And I think to elongate John Cena's career, I think it was a great move by the WWE. I was going to say WWF, by WWE, just for someone who's been traditionally a babyface the whole time, so much so that he even, people just got tired of cheering. The stick had got to look corny, right? So now by being able to see him go into that heel phase, I just think all it does is elongate his career and allows him to delve into, and we've seen his acting chops. Some people think he's a great actor, some people maybe not as much, but he gets work. So another way for him to kind of show his range in the heel fashion, I like it, man. What you think?
Yeah, I love it as well, man. I think it was great adaptation to a storyline in his Twilight retirement tour, as it will. I think you're spot on. It's going to add some longevity to his career, even if he doesn't wrestle week to week. When he come back like The Rock and does special appearances or special things, now you get the new twist. And you also get the twist of redemption down the road. A lot of times when guys go heel, they find another way to come back and go face again. I do think, though, Dukes, much like, me and you talked about last week, how there are some records in sports that are going to stand the test of time because people just don't do it as long or do it as in depth in that one kind of category. I do think this is like the finality of it. I don't think you're going to have a wrestler who's going to be on one side of the equation for 20 years or 15 years anymore. They all hopping around. The gray area in wrestling, if you will, has gotten bigger, where you're not really a bad guy or a good guy. You're just a guy. You just that guy. And so what you saw Hogan do, and now what you saw John Cena do, I really do think this is like the end of it. And that's why it's like a big moment in wrestling history. Shout out to the story writers, man, the content creators who come up with this stuff and keep it fresh. Because you're talking about 2 or 3 live events a week. Hey, much like me, you and Chico, like 2 or 3 live events a week, then building up to the pay-per-views. Man, there's more writers than a soap opera and a movie script on them things, man. They're doing a great job.
All right, I got one. Your favorite as we come off of Black History Month. Oh, Chico, man, you can make shout out Tracy C, my cousin. She said make sure you turn on your monetization. So Chico, man, that's my favorite thing to ask, man, just in case. You can give a O now if the monetization is on, Chico. Thank you, sir.
No.
Yeah, let's go, Chico.
he had to swallow them black eyed peas first. He had to,
oh man. Uncle Neely, you tell me, who is your favorite African American wrestler of all time, and why?
Woo! You know what, man? The list could be long if you wanted to. I could go with Junkyard Dog. I could go with the likes of a Coco Beware. I could go with the first Rock, Dwayne Johnson's daddy. But let me tell you who I go with, man, because I'm also a football guy and then I love history. Man, give me Butch Reed out of Florida State.
Ooh.
Reed became the first black person in WCW to have that belt.
You talking about Ron Simmons?
I'm sorry, Ron Simmons. Ron Simmons. You said right. I was thinking, visualizing Ron Simmons with head saying Butch Reed. When Ron Simmons won that championship,
yeah,
you'd have thought like you thought it was the March on Washington or something as big as it was, man. So give me Ron Simmons because of that title win. Not so much the entertainment factor and all that kind of stuff. He had the mic skills. He can run that mouth now.
Yeah.
I love when Ron Simmons won that thing, man.
And then even when he came over to WWE, he teamed up with Bradshaw, and they went crazy. Ron Simmons, you got to see.
I'm laughing because I got a shirt that just say "damn" on it.
Damn. Damn. Yeah. Hey man. Hey, I like that pick, man. I'm gonna go with honorable mention. I'm gonna go with New Jack. God bless him, man. New Jack, who really made his bones in the ECW, had probably one of the blackest promos I've ever seen. We ain't gonna bring it up here, but go look at New Jack promo where he shouted out. Never mind. But yeah, New Jack. But I'm gonna have to go with Booker T. Booker T with Harlem Heat. Him and Stevie Ray, what they were able to do to win the tag team belts in WCW, going over, continuing his career in the WWE and being able to be authentic while doing it. Then
with or without the slapjack.
Yeah, without the slapjack, and then too hit him with, and told Hulk Hogan, "We coming for you, Ian." Yeah, like live TV, and then just one of those moments where it was just like, bro, I've been there before. But you get into it, like, hey man, we coming for you, and he was just like, yeah, that was one for the ages, man. So, man, and a great athlete, man. When you just talk like when you just remove the everything outside of the ring, man, he could really work a match. And now that you see all of these podcasts on wrestling, you find out who are really good technical wrestlers, how people would quote unquote take a bump for other people, really told you how good of a wrestler a guy was, and he gained a lot of respect from his peers and his counterparts. So, man, I'm gonna have to go Booker T, man.
Hey man, I cannot argue with that. Like I said, love that pick. I just had to go with Simmons being that first one. But man, Booker T at that damn spinner Rooney, Booker T and saying five times before you do something, and Booker T with that. And we got to start using this. No, Chico, tell me you did not just say that. Because that Booker T Stone Cold feud where they fought in the grocery store.
Oh man,
the King Booker phase, and then when Booker became an announcer, like man, no book. And let me tell you this, man. Hats off to both of us because of the history of this thing. Neither one of us picked The Rock, and he like the greatest ever. We go back so far with it.
Oh yeah, man. Now growing up, I ain't gonna cap you down. My favorite was Too Cold Scorpio. Like that was my favorite. That was my favorite wrestler.
I thought you were gonna say Coco Beware.
Oh yeah. Now I used to do the bird too. But man, Too Cold Scorpio, man, almost had me in Children's Hospitals of Atlanta when I was trying to hit that flip off the top rope. Yeah. It was between that and the Frankenstein. Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Had multiple close calls to not being from going from chop kick to neck brace. So but definitely Too Cold Scorpio was one of the best wrestlers that never really got his just due. When you talk about innovative moves, he's another guy I did want to make sure that I highlighted for sure.
Absolutely, it's absolutely. It's on you, my brother.
Now it's on you.
Oh, it's back on me. Oh,
back on you.
Let me just go first, man. We coming. Let me get some real football, man. Matter of fact, let me make it Colorado based. We just came off the combine and we were talking about what Jimmy Horn Jr. did there, what LaJohntay Wester did there. This build up coming to the pro day, which I can officially tell you is slated for April 4th in Boulder, Colorado. Cole, okay. You heard it here. Breaking news. Colorado Pro Day, April 4th. But let me hit you, Dukes, with some numbers.
Okay.
When you take Travis Hunter, LaJohntay Wester, Jimmy Horn Jr., and Will Shepherd, that's 255 receptions, 3,251 yards, and 32 TDs that has left the team. Outside of the Miller boys, no relation, Draylon and Omarion, there are no other receivers with double-digit catches in the season. You tell me, Dukes, should we be concerned about the wide receiver room in Colorado?
Nope. Because there's a guy by the name, we talk about the Millers, we talked about them, guy by the name of Cam Michael. I don't know if his auntie's still in here, but auntie was on my head because I just call him Mikhail. She said, it's Michael, dude. I said, all right, well, say it with your chest. Say it in all caps. And she said it. But Cam Michael, I did a winter workout update where I did some digging around and found out people who were really showing out so far in winter workouts in 7-on-7 period, group A and individual. And Cam Michael is a name that continue to come up as someone who is going to have an impact this year, not only because of his physicality at the wide receiver position, but also because it's just straight up speed. He's a 10-3 guy in the 100. And he's a guy, like, they like to say, who can hit his head on the goalpost as far as how he can break a big one and he'll make sure that he hits his head up there. So I think when you look at what else they brought in to complement the guys, when you look at my man from Tulsa, his name is Joseph, I forget his last name. I got to pull it up. Chat, if you can, put who the guy from the transfer from Tulsa, his first name, maybe it's Joseph Williams, if I ain't mistaken. But y'all check that for me. But he's another guy that I'm really excited about. Possession style receiver, 6'2", kind of give you a little bit of that Will Shepherd type frame. And when you go back and you look at his highlights, contested catches all over the field. And I'm gonna cheat a little bit right here. I know we're not talking. I know you said wide receiver room, but somebody who's gonna help with replacing that production and those receptions and all those numbers that you gave us. Zach Atkins, the new transfer that came in from, I believe, northern Missouri or northwestern Missouri. I heard rave reviews about Zach Atkins, who he is, what he's done off the field, the way he attacks the weight room, and how fast and explosive he is. A converted wide receiver. Now he's playing tight end. And when you talk about running an RPO system, which you'll see a lot more of this year, with Sherman will be running more RPOs when you have a guy like Caden Salter and Julian Lewis. That first read a lot of times is going to be the tight end. So I think he's going to have a huge impact this year, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him get about 35 to 40 receptions. Wouldn't surprise me at all. You tell me, should they be worried at all?
I can tell you this, I'm not worried. And so if Unc ain't worried, y'all shouldn't be worried.
Right.
Because this wide receiver room, as much as I just articulated the talent that has left and gone on and will be playing at the next level, the talent that is left behind and that is maturing into this college process is just as, if not more, outstanding. When you look at the two brothers out of Texas, Farrakhan out of the Houston area, and my man is going to be in the slot replacing Jimmy Horn out of that Dallas area. You just mentioned Tulsa. You look at the Miller brothers, again, no relation, who is still there. You look at Killer Cam, who's there. And I think most importantly, man, the consistency of coaching in the room. You still got Jason Phillips there, who was University of Houston All-American 2 times, led the nation in receptions as a college coach, as a collegiate player, now a college coach. His quarterback, Andre Ware, won the Heisman because of Jason Phillips' production at wide receiver. Him coaching that room, knowing how to get the best out of those guys, knowing how to manage personalities. Hey, y'all know what they say on the streets. Wide receivers can be divas. He knows how to manage them, knows how to get their reps up, knows how to hold them accountable, knows how to put them in the game position situationally for who can exploit matchups better. So I really think you're going to see a wide receiver room that some aspect is by committee, that each week or every 2 weeks is going to be a different breakout guy because of who we're playing. So I don't have any panic or concern about the wide receiver production drop off. I am with you, though. I think that when you get to the end of the season and you look at just totality to totality, because you're going to have increased running back play and because you're going to have increased tight end play, there may be a numerical drop off, but there's certainly not a talent drop off.
Absolutely. I can go for that. All right, you tell me. Well, you're coming off the NFL Combine, and there's a lot of everybody usually just posts up for the 40 time. Well, in your time working at sports agencies, I know you've got a really good foundation of what helps you kind of decide what numbers in the combine or at a pro day will help an NFL team say, all right, this will give me a telltale sign of how this guy will perform on the next level. At Colorado's pro day, excluding the 40, what drills, whether it's the 10-yard, whether it's the 40-yard dash, the broad jump, the vertical, 20-yard shuttle, 3-cone, whatever it is, what of those exercises, even if it's bench press, what is the best indicator for you if you had to pick one that the Colorado guys need to perform well in order to show that they're going to be good pros, or and it doesn't matter per position or what?
My dog, man, you came with it on that one. Look, let me tell you this, DukesTheScoop. We got a policy, or you tell me, we don't share the questions before the show. We hear them for the first time when y'all hear them. Dog, if you're going to start coming at me that hard swinging with haymakers like that, I might need to start getting these advanced so I can put some thought to them. And I tell you what, man, in general, before I mention a specific drill, if you're going to take away the 40, which is your straight line speed, and just measuring, your ability to accelerate, give me a drill that shows how well you can flip your hips and alternate direction. Because a ball tends to do that in the game. You think it's going to the left, and all of a sudden it breaks back around to the right. So I don't care if you're playing D-line, linebacker, safety, or corner. How quick can you get your body to going from one direction full speed to stopping on a dime, pivoting, and now accelerating to a totally complete opposite direction? Outside of drills that showcase that, man, give me the jumps, man. I think the measurement of hip explosion, what you can do from a base down, and really people don't understand how much that takes core strength as well. Because you don't do sit-ups at the combine, you don't do sit-ups at pro day, but there's certain drills that show what the strength of your midsection. So man, a guy who can look up at those bars and take a couple of arm swings and jump straight up 42 to 48 inches in the air, that's showing you an athlete. And if I know I have an athlete, right, I can train and coach the rest. So there's certain drills that just show athleticism. So if you're going to take the 40 out, give me a shuttle drill that shows some hip flipping, and man, give me that jumping, man. What you got, Deuce? You tell me.
Man, you know what? I'm gonna cheat a little bit because you got to run the 40 to get it. But I just think that 10-yard split on the 40 is the most important metric if it's me. Because how often are you running 40 yards?
Yeah, the play is over if you are.
Yeah, I mean, either it's a touchdown already or not. I think by being able to show that explosion, how fast you can get to your top speed, your acceleration, your deceleration, all of those things that you can show. But the 10-yard split shows how fast can you get from point A to point B when the ball says hut. And I think that's important because at the end of the day, we call about 15 to 20%, maybe about 15% of plays go over 18 yards. The rest of them things are 18 yards or below. So when you look at something that's going to impact the game, you want to have somebody who is explosive in a short period. And please check me on that number. If anybody in the chat, that was really a ballpark number. I might have capped myself down a little bit, but I think I've earned that on You Tell Me. But outside, but serious business, man. I'm gonna go with the 10-yard split, man.
You remind me of the judge who was a brother on A Few Good Men when he checked Colonel Nathan Jessup. I know I've earned it. He ain't lying.
That's right.
I know I've earned. Hey man, let me let me get on here to basketball real quick. This is not this is You Tell Me, but it's not a I told you so because I didn't see this one coming. I tried to tell Chico that the Lakers were going to win this trade in the short order and in the long run because AD was not going to be able to complete his end. Had no idea that Kyrie Irving would be going out with an ACL as well. You tell me, Dukes, what does this mean for the Dallas Mavericks, not only this season, but going forward? Is there panic in Big D?
It's got to be. One, the optics. First of all, you still got to watch the Lakers continue to gel and get better. Now you have to do that with the majority of your team hurt. Jason Kidd summed it up. I felt so bad for him in the press conference last night. He said, "Well, yeah, we can see Kyle was really hurt, and you know they say next man up, but we out of men." And that was a tough statement. A lot of people thought Kyrie had just hyperextended it. It didn't look like an ACL tear at first, but what happened was it was a lot more serious and dire than what people thought. Now you have to go back and you look at that trade and you say, well, you traded somebody who's been fairly healthy over the majority of their career for an injured superstar to make a calculated risk to try to make a run this year. Now, even if Anthony Davis was healthy, you wouldn't be able to depend on him to carry the ship or to direct the ship. If you still had Luka, even with Kyrie down, you still had a puncher's chance at having some success in the postseason. Well, now that's over. Even with the healthy Anthony Davis, he doesn't bring the ball up. He doesn't control the pace of the game, and he needs help in order to be dominant. Luka can go off and give you 50. Luka could literally give you 50, 15, and 8 and control the game by himself. Not to say he would do that on a consistent basis, but he's capable. So I think all it does is you look at Nico. I feel so bad for the GM, and I know it came from above his head, but I saw a meme that said they looked at all of the Mavericks injuries, and they listed like 6-7 guys, and at the bottom it says Nico with brain damage, basically saying that was probably the worst trade that you could have ever made. So I feel for the people in Dallas, man. And usually I'm tough on Dallas folks because of my cousin Chip. Shout out to my cousin Chip, how much he talks about the Cowboys. But man, I send my heart out to Dallas Mavericks fans, and man, I may be becoming a little Lakers fan because it made you want to root for Luka.
I like the way you ended that. It certainly makes Luka almost a martyr, like where you just like, man, they tried to get him, but they didn't get him, and they tried to bury him and didn't know they were planting the seed, and look how he's flourishing in LA. I love that line about the GM being the most injured. Whoever typed that was pretty that was pretty damn creative. Yeah, man. I even when I said that AD wouldn't be able to hold up where we would see the fruition of this trade for both parties, that wasn't me wishing it. That wasn't me hating it. That was just me going off of past performance. And Dukes, what do I always say? The best indicator of future
performance is past performance.
And so, as much as I told Chico the night we discussed it, which seems like 2 years ago, but it was just barely a month ago. I said, I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to see AD get hurt. And what happened? First game there, he got hurt. Man, I had no idea or inkling, even though it's a professional sport, contact sport, injuries happen all the time. Had no idea this was going to come. It pretty much washes this season. It pretty much just puts an even bigger stain on this trade. But even when you look down the road, hey, man, stuff in my mind is always movies, Dukes. You remember the Batman with Heath Ledger? And they had the citizens on the boat and the convicts on the boat, and they gave each one of them a key where you could blow the other one boat up.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to blow the Dallas Mavericks boat up, man. Like turn the key. Well, whether it is the GM's fault, the owner's fault, whether it's a series of unfortunate events to occur this season, and I dare say next, are gone as far as your ability to compete for a championship. So you did this trade before the All-Star break, and you end up losing a season and a half with it. You know, when the rubber meets the road, and then to insult the injury, to pour salt in a wound, the Mavericks announced to their home fans they got to go up on ticket prices. That effective next season, there's an 8 to 10% increase on ticket prices. Like, what are y'all trying to be hated? Like, you just don't want to be loved? Like, what are you doing? So I just think at the end of the day, man, it didn't work. It didn't work for the Mavericks. It's clearly not going to work this season. The Lakers are in a better position and will be in a better position this season. And I think even next year that's going to come to pass, no matter what happens across the summer or fall, that when you get midway of a season and go out with an ACL, that's 9 to 12 months before you can play ball again. Mm-hmm. You know, you're into 2026 before you see him back on the court competitively. So tough for the Mavericks, man. Tough on the fans, and probably trying to call up 2 men in the truck and move that franchise to Las Vegas like they want to do anyway.
Man, that's why I was finna go. So now let's go conspiracy theories. Put on.
Let me get my aluminum hat.
Yeah, man. We're going conspiracy theory. Did the Mavericks, with the raise in prices, these are all things that will make somebody hate a franchise and say, you know what, I don't even want to go. Well, you know what happens when teams' attendances are low in the city that they're in? It makes it easier for them to move. Do you think the Luka trade was the start or was the first domino in how the new ownership team will be trying to move that team away from Dallas, and that these price and the price raises, and will we see more things that are going to alienate fans and keep them away from is it American Airlines?
American Airlines Arena,
yep. That'll keep them away.
I believe it. And let me tell you this. I believe every conspiracy has a good cover story. Mm-hmm. Luka being out of shape, Luka not being a professional. Interesting. He just came off being the league leading scorer, and then you want to say those things about him. I think you put that kind of stuff out there, but somewhere in these conversations, billionaire to billionaire, somebody said, man, what's the worst case scenario if we do this? Well, the worst case scenario is we lose, the fans get pissed, and we get to move to Vegas like we want to do anyway. So it becomes, even if it's not a direct conspiracy, it becomes a supportive argument, because when you can live with the worst case scenario, if the worst case does you no harm, why would you not do it? Now that you've done that, Kyrie's hurt, you're raising ticket prices. I mean, what would you go pay to use the bathroom when you get there now? Like you might go in and piss everybody off, water down your attendance and say, hey, league, look, like we're struggling in Dallas, help us move. It's a small market, really not a basketball city. We won championships, but now everybody's just football crazy here. We got to go. I believe it's so much a conspiracy that it ain't even a damn conspiracy. It's just part of the plan.
Man, you said something then. All right, it's on me. You tell me. All right, we're gonna go to culture. In hip hop culture, drill music, and we haven't seen we never seen this level of real life violence in relation to rappers that are known or are prominent, even in their areas where they're from. Do you feel like there needs to be something done about the music and social media with now how we're seeing rappers meet their demise in real time? And I'm speaking about while we're in Dallas, the Fort Worth area, rapper Lil Ronnie, GS Lil Ronnie, who think he lost his life yesterday, was it?
Yeah,
Lil Ronnie. And his daughter.
Yeah, right? The 5-year-old daughter was in the car with him.
In the car with him. Like what? Like there's no code, there's no morals, anything. Like we all, in our generation, women, children, mamas off limits.
Yeah.
But that's over with. So do you think there has to be something done? Is there any type of censorship or something that has to be done to kind of maybe take up, maybe help us get the game back to where it was at least respectable in some kind of way? Because this is deplorable.
Yeah, it is deplorable. It's sad. It's unfortunate. It's preventable. I don't think the preventive tool is censorship. You know, I'm still down with Uncle Luke and what they did with Two Live Crew and freedom of speech, even in entertainment. I think what you have though, Deuce, coming from our era of hip hop, not rap, hip hop, and I'm gonna explain that in a second. I think what you have now is you have a group of folks who are not into hip hop. They're not even necessarily into rap music. They do a lot of other YN stuff, and because they bring that with them when they start trying to be an entertainer or a content creator, that lifestyle follows them. So I don't think the genre of music is the cause of the problem. It's the people who bring that baggage with them because now they want to be entertainers after they should be dope boys or gang bangers or whoever else. And I'm not knocking my young brothers who are doing that. Hopefully they'll live long enough and grow and mature and get out of that lifestyle. But here's what I meant when I said about hip hop. You have words, Dukes, and words have definition, and what you can't do is make up your own definition of the word. And for something to be hip hop had five pillars back in the day. You know, it had to be DJing, had to be b-boying, which is breakdance, and it had to be MCing, which is rapping. It had to be either graffiti. And the most important pillar of hip hop was knowledge. If you weren't rapping about knowledge or sharing knowledge or sharing information, it was not hip hop. It could be music, it could be this, it could be that, or like you called it drill music, but it could not be hip hop. What we need to do is do like my man DJ Scott LaRock would say when he rest in peace. We need to get back to hip hop, man. Like we need to get back, you know, to having positive music out there, messages that inform and entertain. You know, you look at the era of 80s and 90s, even when NWA was doing their thing, they were telling stories of what was happening in the hood. They weren't promoting doing it themselves. They were
Right.
they were showing the world like this is what's happening, and I think we got to get back to that kind of edutainment, as KRS One would call it. But as far as some form of censorship, you know, it won't work. You know, if you try to ban certain records, it's going to still be underground in clubs and they produced on the internet and shared over social media. And again, I don't think it's the music that's influenced behavior. I think it's the behavior that came with the individual, and the individual started doing music.
Man, my uncle, man, I had him on my live show a couple nights ago. My uncle used to have the club on Old National, throwbacks. My Uncle Wayne, he said, this was years ago. It was probably about 2011, 2012. He said, man, they letting the street cats in the game for real now.
Yeah.
He said things didn't change. They letting them in the game. You know, back in the day, you had to go through like a verification process for a label to say, okay, you know what, we're gonna make money off of this guy. He gotta have this, that, and that. You know, even probably one of the most gangster rappers back then, you know, was Tupac and all that era. Well, you know what, he still there was always knowledge in his music. You look at Ice Cube, who had probably the most scathing diss in history. When you look at everything that he's been able to do, look how he's rebranded himself. Snoop Dogg himself. I mean, you know, a lot of people didn't rock with his decision on at the top of the year, but when you look at what he's been able to do from the time of Murder Was the Case until now, Dr. Dre, I mean, now these guys are really like they dropping albums on Monday and dying on Wednesday.
Yeah, but there's pardon the interruption, man. But you said something key there when you mentioned Cube and you mentioned a particular record, not by name and no Vaseline. You're talking about the greatest diss record of all time. Not only did not lead to anybody dying, it led to people being informed on how contracts work. It led to people getting out of their contracts and led to people like Master P and even Suge Knight with Death Row, who may have had some questionable ways he was doing it, but it was owned by us then instead of being pimped out by somebody. So even a diss track that today would have caused humps in the ground, it still fast forwarded the process. It had knowledge to it. It was full of information. And I think that's what's missing now in our era. And I hate to sound like the grumpy old man on the front porch saying, get off my lawn. But man, Dukes, me and you came up rapping about selling drugs. They rap about taking them.
Yeah, yeah. It's different, man. Taking them in, you know, telling on yourself in the record, like
Yeah.
like you know what I'm saying, like, you know, I'm so gangster. I'm gonna say who I shot, when I shot him, why I shot him, and guess
I
what?
wonder why you got an indictment from a grand jury.
Yeah, like you know what I mean. And I think when you let certain people, and this is the thing where even to answer my own question, censorship won't work. It's direct to consumer now.
Yep.
It's whatever, and the images that are painted in our minds, you're able to get stuff so much faster. There ain't no censorship. You look at Twitter, man. You can go like right now. You can go look at that man laying on the ground right now on Twitter. You can see his daughter. Like after she passed, we literally witnessed Nipsey Hussle's execution. Like we are decent. I believe as a nation, especially as a culture, we've been desensitized to things that civilians should never see. I remember
the death of outrage, man, the death of embarrassment, the death of anger, all of that stuff is real. When you could be shown images so many times that it means nothing to you anymore. I don't care if it's a fight video on Facebook. And it's amazing how Facebook and other platforms will allow black folks in a parking lot fighting, but won't allow somebody hitting a dog. Now, and I ain't saying you should allow hitting a dog, but I'm saying, damn, when are we gonna value human life and the images of that when we start putting up there with the rights of animals?
Yeah, no, you're right, man. It's a scary time, and I think the realization of it is we have to do a great job in our homes.
Yep.
For how it starts at home. So we commend two of the best fathers I know, and Big Dog Chico on the soundboard tonight, and Uncle Neely, man, as far as taking the time to be great fathers, so you can put good and look. And I hate to say this, say it like this, but we want to put good product in the street. Like our children are products of us and their environment. So I think it's important for us to continue to make sure that we put positivity in them, raise them right, so when they go out there, they're not cutting up. And R.I.P. to Lil Ronnie. And there was a record that came out a couple of weeks ago that they said had something to do with it. You look at Gilly the kid's son who passed away, and the retributions, quote unquote, allegedly for his death was a 17-year-old basketball player with the highest SAT in the school who dropped the video of talking about the song, talking about what had happened, and a week later he passed away. So yeah, I hate this wave, and I don't want to be the unk saying get off my lawn either. But man, shoot, man, at the end of the day, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna say get that body out my lawn eventually, because they filling up the cemeteries quicker than they can make plots. I mean, it's bad, man. And Atlanta, now everybody has their own section of drill music. You start off with Chicago, then you got New York drill, Atlanta drill. Hey, we got a rapper named Baby Drill. Yeah, I mean, it's getting out of control, man. And I just hope that we just got to keep praying, and that hopefully some fun music or another wave comes that's going to be more positive than the one that we just went under recently.
You said that, brother. You said that. Let me flip the script again, do another no-look pass. But this time I'm going to take it, DukesTheScoop, to women's basketball.
Okay.
And I'm going to take it to the SEC. We talked about before, the SEC looked like it was down in football, but has a resurgence in men's basketball. But let me talk to you about SEC women's basketball for a second. Equal records, split head-to-head, but the only way to decide who was going to be the one seed going into the tournament, South Carolina or Texas, came down to a coin toss. The coin toss put South Carolina 1, Texas 2, even though arguably Texas should be 1. You tell me, Dukes, is the coin toss the way to solve this in 2025?
Yeah, man, I don't know. Yeah, nah, absolutely not. I think that was a missed opportunity. I think there are other metrics that you could go to. There's way too many analytics. There's way too much data. Like you said, 2025. Yeah, if this was 1955, yeah, use a coin flip. Okay, cool. But right now, it's just too much information out there for them to make such a positive. Such an impactful decision as far as who gets what seeding and who they'll play going forward. I mean, when it's clear all you have to do is just go to look at the overall record to see who has a better record for the season. Now, just go to the second. That's what they're doing everything else. Or you can go to, I mean, when you look at everything being equal, and the reason that people are saying that it shouldn't have went that way is because you got to look at what Texas has been doing as of late. So, yeah, that was a little lazy in my opinion, man. What you think, Unc?
Yeah, I'm going to concur with you, man. I have infinity and high respect for both coaches. Texas coach did about 10 years here in Mississippi State women's basketball. And, of course, Dawn Staley, we love her for the culture. But I think what both of these teams work their asses off for, the coaching staff, the players, and the universities, shouldn't come down to the luck of a coin toss, no matter which side you're on. I think when you look at metrics like points per game, average margin of victory, even hell, most blocked shots, fewest turnovers, I think you have so many other performance metrics that you can go to before you flip a coin that, man, I would line up the top 5 performance metrics. And if all those are equal to, then we flip a coin. There's no for something this important, because the way the seeding works, someone could be getting a certain advantage that they wouldn't have by because of who they're facing. And if you're really trying to build a big dog in the back and Deuce up front, if you're really trying to build and believe in your success, you've got to believe that this problem is going to happen more and more and more and more. You're going to have, if the SEC women's basketball is who they say they is, you're going to have a 4-way tie one year.
Yeah.
You're going to have a 5-way. Like, that's what you want. You want parity in your conference. And so for it to come down to a tie, split head to head, and your only solution is to scratch your head and flip a damn quarter, I'm like, come on, y'all. Like, we got too much other information, including popcorn sales. Like, you could have gone to anything in the world that measured effort and grit and performance other than flipping a coin. Do away with flipping the coin or move that way down the list of things we have to tie at before that decides.
I like that a lot, All right, so I'm gonna pass it back. We're gonna get back to the football field now. You tell me, the Philadelphia Eagles have just released. They said they're gonna release James Bradbury. They're gonna release Darius Slay, 2 of their more veteran players. They re-signed Saquon Barkley, but as you start to see, when it comes to Super Bowl success, what you also see is the changing of the roster. And a lot of times you're going to lose a guy like a Josh Sweat. You won't be able to pay him because of the rest of the roster that you have to pay. You could have basically said that you could have kept Josh Sweat or you could have kept Saquon Barkley happy. So every year, the Super Bowl team usually loses a lot of people, and that's why it's so hard to go back to back. Do you think, you tell me, do you think the Eagles have a shot at getting back next year, or do you think there'll be a classic team with a Super Bowl hangover?
I smiled because I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan and the Philadelphia Eagles are my neighbor in the NFC East. So you're damn right I hope they don't go back. But in order to beat a man, you got to beat the man, and they just won it all, so hats off to them. But the difficulty of repeating is just like you're saying. And one of my notes was about you, asking you about the Eagles and Saquon now becoming the highest paid running back in NFL history, particularly for the next 2 years. I think that, Dukes, that when you win, there's so many people, or even if it's a few people, there's some important people that you owe more money to. And the math is the math. Somebody got to go for that to happen. And so for you to bump up Saquon Barkley for the next 2 years to just a tad bit over $20 million a year, $40 million, somebody got to go. And who better than an aging cornerback? Now, when I say aging, Cowboys can pick him up and he's going to get 3 or 4 interceptions with us. Like, he still is serviceable. He brings something to the table. But as far as that team, they had to look around the room and say, okay, who can we truly part with and still be successful? Who do we have to keep to stay successful? Clearly, you got to keep the quarterback and the running back. Clearly, you got to keep that defensive line. Everybody else is expendable. Because when you break off Saquon $20 million a year for the next 2 years, well deserved, because you wouldn't have the Super Bowl without him. Then who's next? I'm doing Coming to America Barbershop because it's F-U.
No, you're right. No, I think
go ahead.
I think they can get back, man. I think what they did was they backfill in advance. When you look at, they spend a lot of people scratched their head last year when they said, man, they're gonna get a they first and they second round pick on cornerbacks, but they hit on both of them. You talk about Quinyon Mitchell, the Toledo missile, and you talk about Cooper DeJean, probably more athletic Jason Sehorn when you talk about a Caucasian corner. I mean, they hit on both of them, and Cooper DeJean made a huge play in the in the Super Bowl with a pick six. So I think they could potentially be hurt by the loss of a Josh Sweat, but when you go back and you look at that defensive line and how they're set up, how they were just sending waves and waves of guys at you, I think the Eagles got it rolling because at this point, the way they've been drafting, they ain't missing on many draft picks. You go back, they all talk trash when they said the Philly Dogs weren't really it. And then now you see Nakobe Dean, you see Jordan Davis, you see Jalen Carter, you see Nolan Smith, Keely Ringo. I mean, those guys are coming to play. So I think with the NFL draft, especially in this year's draft, where they say there isn't much difference between after the 10th pick and the 35th pick, you're going to be in the mid rounds is the strength of the draft. I think they'll be able to keep the mantle going, and somebody's going to have to come knock them off. Maybe it could be the Cowboys with a healthy Dak. We'll see.
We're gonna have a healthy deck, man, but we have a big roster turnover. March 12th is Happy New Year. March 12th is the official first day of the calendar year for NFL football. There's gonna be some moving around, man, all across this league when free agency opens up and closes. Let me get some shout outs in the chat, Dukes, if you don't mind. Shout out to Miss Dawn Duncan, who says hashtag get off my lawn. I'm gonna say it all day. Like this Dawn, you gotta go. Miss Dawn Duncan also says, flip a coin. Oh, hell no. DR said you might as well do rock, paper, scissors if you're going to flip a coin between these two lady teams. I agree with y'all. Dukes.
Yep.
This conspiracy. I could take off my aluminum foil hat. Code words, buzzwords, saying this, but you really mean that. You ain't getting them by me. I know what you're saying when you say it, Deuce. Neely, what do you mean? That's my Chico looking to the side. What do you mean? I'm going to tell you what I mean. You tell me, Deuce. Are they really saying arrogant when they talk about Shedeur at the combine? Or are they saying black? You tell me.
All right, I'm gonna be 30% political. Let me get my adjuster in here. I'm gonna go 70% RN. If you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna go about 30% politically correct.
Yeah.
Swagger, confidence, and braggadocio can all have negative connotations based on who's saying it. But they can also be positives based on who's saying it. Arrogant, when you talk about what the definition, hold on, let's do something right quick. Let's go look up the definition of arrogance. Arrogance. Let's look it up. So, an exaggerated sense of self-importance that can be insulting and overbearing. It can also be described as a proud and offensive display of superiority. Okay, cool. Now we're talking about football, right?
Amen.
All right, so when people say, like the reason they have mascots are to do what? To have mascots represent people because it's an exaggerated display of what people are and how they are on the football field. Now we're going to the definition of arrogance. When they talk about this guy was a giant, this guy was a titan, he was he was bigger than life. If somebody else says it, those are great words. But if you say it yourself in the wrong connotation, then somebody can perceive that as a negative thing, and I wouldn't want that in my locker room. Now, you want to talk about get off my lawn. That report was the most get off my lawn report that we've seen in a long time. This is the NFL. If you don't believe that you're the best player on the field, then why would you go on a field where there is basically 8 to 9 car crashes every time the whistle is blown? Why would you do that if you didn't feel like you were the best suited? So yes, when you talk about somebody who believes in themselves and knows that they are and feels that they are the best option, who's backed it up, and the proof of the matter, excuse me, the proof of concept has followed him everywhere he's been. So why is somebody who wanted you to lead a locker room, why wouldn't you want a guy who felt that he is the guy for the job no matter where the job is? So yeah, I do think that's a code word for something else. But even more so than being a code word for being black, I think it's a code word for Sanders. You tell me what you think.
Oh, now. Well,
come on now, dog.
I'm gonna tell you that you're right, and I posed the question, because I believe what I believe, and I come from my experience. And let me say this to the chat out there: I'm 53 years old. I'll be 54 in June. And to anybody watching this live in the chat or watching this later, if you are 60 years or younger, do you realize you're the first born free black people? Because you're born after the civil rights movement and after constitutional amendments that guaranteed you certain freedoms that didn't exist after emancipation. We're still like new in this country when you look at a 60-year window. And then you still in that 60 years when you try to be yourself, because Shedeur Sanders ain't 60 years old, Travis Hunter ain't 60 years old. When you try to be yourself, you get accused of somebody of being something negative. As if believing in yourself is an issue. As if in having confidence in yourself because of the work that you put in, because of the ability that has gotten you where it's gotten you, because of the experiences that you have. If Shedeur did it in high school, if he did it at Jackson State, if he did it at Colorado, and if he listens to good old Uncle Neely when Uncle Neely says the best indicator of future performance is past performance, why would he not believe in himself? And if you're in the hiring process, why would you want to hire somebody that has doubts about themselves? Like you want somebody with some charisma, some bravado, some belief, some proven track record. So when I see a Travis Hunter saying, I'm just different, is he lying? When I see Shedeur Sanders say, if you're serious about changing your franchise, draft me. If you're not serious about changing your franchise, don't draft me. Because everywhere I've gone, I've changed it. If that come across as arrogant as you, too black, too strong, it just reminds me, and I'm like I said, I'm just 53. It just reminds me of gotta keep this uppity Negro in this place. Who do you think he is? Shut up and dribble kind of talk. Like this brother has done everything by the book. Don't be in trouble. Ain't known for no kind of scandals. Works his ass off to achieve the results he achieves. And because he believes in himself, somebody wants to say, and this wasn't like, hey, let's all ask all the people what you thought. They ran to the media to tell this. Hey, I got something to say. Let me tell you what I think about Shedeur. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Like it is in a deliberate attempt to water down somebody's success because their confidence makes you uncomfortable. That's your problem. That's
He ain't lying.
Right.
Well, I have literally been with Shedeur Sanders since his college career started. And one thing he has never lacked is confidence. And even in that confidence, he's never treated people like they were under him or less than him. Always, yes, sir. Always about his teammates, but always firmly believing himself. Same thing with Travis Hunter. I've been around Travis Hunter 3 years his college career. Has never like, hey man, y'all ain't nothing because y'all ain't as fast as me, as good as me. It's always been about the team, what I can do. But he knows, and man, God bless me, man. I'm different. And I work. And then you got people who have the opportunity to have exponential success because of this talent in their organization, but they so uncomfortable with a black man, particularly a young black man, being confident in himself that they want to call it arrogant. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, it's a white guy standing there with the same kind of jewelry on. He's a leader. Look at his confidence. Look how he stands there and head and shoulders with everybody else. And even after a pat, you used to see it all the time in the league. A Warren Moon could come to the bench and could kick over the Gatorade, and it's immature. Tom Brady come to the bench, kick over the Gatorade, is passion in his leadership. Man, get on about it with that BS.
Yeah, no, you said a mouthful there, man. It's sad because it's a hit job.
Mm-hmm.
Like a very thinly veiled hit job, because this is what I say. Every year, somebody comes out and there's somebody who has character issues and all of this other stuff. Well, you're talking about something that you didn't get your opinion of somebody. Like, he's arrogant. Like, bro, what you want him to do? Like, how can you not be a quarterback and be a little arrogant? Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, like by definition of the word, it says that you have to have an exaggerated sense of self.
Yes.
Like that's the definition. Like, you have to feel like a giant. You have to feel bigger than life in order for you. Put it like this. He act like the cameras ain't been following this man around for years and years and years. Same thing with Travis Hunter. Like, man, them cameras. This is a true story. This happened at the combine. Shout out to Trav. I'm at the players' lounge with a kid that I mentor. Me and Robert Bailey, Deion's Coach Prime's old teammate. Me and Robert Bailey walking out. We see Trav. He stops Trav. And I ain't saying that until he stops Trav. He says he starts talking to a Trav. Nice as can be. I said, Trav, I can get a picture. Yeah. Me and Trav, we get to chopping it up a little bit about what I do. And then his Young Money comes in and we all sitting there, we kick it for a second. When I tell you he took that one picture and everybody, we talking about players, parents, aunties, whoever, rushed over there to the point where they said, y'all got to move from over there. It's causing too much commotion. Do you know he sat there and took that picture with everybody who wanted one? Whether it was somebody else, another player, someone who may have been competing with him in the draft, it didn't matter. He took every picture. It's a true story. Every picture that was there for him to take, he took. I know the boy was tired. And when I seen him, he was looking at football. Now, but those type stories, and you know what? And if I put that story out, which I'm doing right now, and I'll do it again, that story won't get no traction.
Let me ask you this, Dukes, because you love words like I love words.
Mm-hmm.
If I unravel what you're saying right there, you're saying that most players, whether they're Travis level or not, most players would not have stayed there that long taking pictures with that many people based on your experience.
No, it was time to relax.
Whoa. Most people wouldn't have done it, right?
Not at all. Damn, Chico, you fast.
He did it, right?
Absolutely.
By definition, does that not make him different?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he said to the world, I'm different. Why y'all get mad? He shows y'all he's different in the way he just lives his life.
Yeah.
When Shedeur says, hey, man, to the defense, just give me the ball back. Give me an opportunity. I'm going to get us down there. And then finds LaJohntay Wester and does it. It wasn't arrogant then.
You know who he said it was? God.
He said it was God.
Come on.
And shout out to the Pregame network for capturing that footage, because we were the only one at midfield when he was talking to his daddy, and he said that wasn't nothing but God.
Nothing but God.
But he arrogant.
Yeah, man. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Come on now, dog.
Pass on him then.
Come on, man.
Pass on him. Yeah, okay. Pass on him.
DukesTheScoop. We at the top of the hour. That was the last of the You Tell Me. But you know what we always do to close out the show on You Tell Me.
Yeah.
The floor is yours, Dukes. Take us out of here with some positivity.
Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, both of them are right.
You ain't lying.
It's been another Tuesday night, another episode of You Tell Me. You can catch us back together again with Big Dog Chico on the front side. Tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, we got the morning run with a special guest, Cordell Stewart / will be in the building talking all things Colorado, NFL Combine, draft experience, everything. Cordell Stewart will be with us in the morning for the morning run, so y'all make sure you check that out. And, of course, You Tell Me will be back live next Tuesday night. Y'all have a safe and blessed week out there. Don't forget, notification bell on. Like, share, subscribe each channel. We out. I can't figure this out. Like help me out. I'm trying to understand, dudes, what the hell is going on? So that's the name of this partnership. You tell me. 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 Live. You tell me. Live.